Hello, how are you doing? Thanks for joining me again. Hope you're well. I'm fairly well. I might sound a little bit husky. I've managed to catch the winter cold. I avoided it all through the festivities, but it's come to hit me now. But will it stop me taking pictures? No, it will not. So I am out here in the countryside to talk to you a little bit about what I'm planning to do this month. And the first thing I'm going to do is repeat my plan from last year of doing a January photo project. But if you watch that one from January 2024, you'll remember that I totally over formatted it. I got way too complicated. 24, 24, 24. It was just a nightmare. So I'm going to keep it simple this year. I am just going to do that old chestnut, one photo a day for the whole of January. And I'm going to do it on the theme of winter, because it's winter here, and I'm going to shoot everything in black and white, or if it's digital, in colour, and convert it to black and white. But the intention is for it to be black and white, because I don't shoot that much black and white at the moment, and I should do more of it. So I'll share with you just a couple of the ones that I've done already, and hopefully at the end of January I'll be able to share the whole batch with you as a slideshow, and you'll be able to see how it all ties together if it works. The other thing I want to do in this little video is show you and share with you a little gift that I was given by Lucy at Christmas, which is a new scanning setup for my film. And the exciting thing about that is it should scan 120 film. The setup I've got at the moment only does 35mm. It's not big enough for 120, so I've had to use the light box, and as you know, that's not very good. So I will show you a little bit of that now, and I will cut back to this at the end, and hopefully there'll be a few little shots from this walk as well as a little extra bit of excitement. But now let's cut to me testing out the new scanning equipment. So welcome back to a very chilly studio. It's actually colder in here than it is out there. So yeah, but this is what I was talking about. The Digitalizer Max, which I was given by Lucy as a Christmas present. So this is not sponsored content, this is just something that I received for Christmas. Lucy obviously thought I would have fun with it, and yeah, it should do the scanning that I've been doing with the little panel and the 120 film, which is very important because I actually just shot a roll of 120. I think it's here in my pocket, so I will be processing that in the tank and seeing if I can scan it on here. But let's unbox this first and see what's inside. I'll do it that way so you can hopefully see. Don't want the QR codes, and I don't speak simplified Chinese, so that's no good. Nice little cover. Yeah, everything packed really nicely actually. It's got quite a nice feel to it. Fun to unbox all the tissue paper. It's got a little level on it, which is handy, so I'll be able to tell whether things are flat, because otherwise you get warping and out of focus bits. And this, I guess, is the light box itself. Hold me tight, it says on it. Hold me tight. I like the sentiment there. It's supposed to run on batteries, and I think there's a little battery compartment in there. Yes, fabulous. I have a couple of AA's, and there's also a USB port there, so I could probably power it up. As you were, when you put it together, make sure you put the back on before things fly out. I don't rehearse this stuff, you know, I just do it. There we go, maybe I should rehearse it. That looks like a button, and it is. That light does not look as bright as the one on my regular kit, so that might be an issue. Right, are there any instructions, or do I have to go online to read instructions? I wouldn't be at all surprised to find that. There is another level, it's like a chocolate box. There's another layer of goodies under here. Oh, that's quite a nice heavy base. Having said everything felt light and plasticky, the base does not. Right, okay, I've got all the bits here. Now I'm going to try and fit them together. Okay. So I've fast forwarded through this assembly, partly because it's quite a slow and tedious process, and partly because the dog from the unit next door came in while I was doing it and started listening to Gardener's Question Time, so that was blaring out behind me, and I didn't think you'd want to hear that in the background as I talked. But you can see that it's fairly simple to connect everything together, put it all together, and you get quite a sturdy and stable construction at the end of it. So the first thing I did was check how you got the 120 film in using an old piece of film that I wasn't actually going to scan, I found lying around the studio. And then I worked out how to connect the 35mm roller, which is very exciting, and did my first bit of proper scanning with some pictures from the Christmas break. This was actually a roll shot by Lucy at a family gathering at her parents. So this is a picture of me that Lucy took in my Santa hat, and I've scanned it using an iPhone clamped in the clamp which the rig comes with to hold it completely horizontal and in line with the negative, and it does produce a very clear image. It is absolutely sharp corner to corner, but there are these horrible computational photography things that you get when you scan with an iPhone. It just looks really unnatural. So I decided to use my DSLR. I couldn't find any way of actually attaching it to the rig, so it was a question of using a tripod. I don't have a copy stand. And if you look at the two images side by side, I think you'll agree that the DSLR image is way, way better. There is a tiny amount of diffraction blur in the corners because I was using the extension tubes, which I always use. That's just part of that setup. But it's still more realistic, more like film. The colours are more muted. The detail is real detail. It doesn't look like it's been painted on. So at this point, I decided I was going to use a DSLR as the capture device. And that introduced a slight issue for me, which is, as I mentioned before, the light is a lot less bright on this rig than on the rig that I was using before. And I like to use a really fast shutter speed and a fairly narrow aperture to make sure that I get front to back sharpness on the negative and that the shutter speed is fast enough to get rid of any motion blur that I might get from shake or extraneous factors. I started thinking, oh, that's going to be a bit annoying. But then I thought, well, let's just see if I can attach this 35mm adapter to my old rig. And lo and behold, it actually fits pretty perfectly. It's not designed to do it, but it just so happens that it fits absolutely perfectly into that. And that enabled me to have the brightness of my old rig with the convenience of the 35mm negative roller, which really makes it a lot quicker. And you can see the results here. I did a little test with an old image that I've got of some trees looking up at the sky in Fletcher Moss. If you look at these 100% crops, the new rig with the light box, it's quite soft. But the difference between the new rig with the old light box and the old rig with the old light box is so small that I would say, unless it's a really critical piece of work, that for convenience, it's worth using the new setup. And that's what I'm going to do in future. So what about the main thing that I was interested in, which is the 120 film? So I started off scanning an old negative of mine, a petrol station that I shot probably about 20 years ago. And you can see it's made a pretty good job of it. And I also, as I mentioned before, had some new 120 film. I did a scan of that as well, and you can see the results here. And I think you'll agree it's really a nice image, and it's going to be so nice to be able to scan 120 film, because scanning it on the light box, which I was doing before, I was getting really poor results. I couldn't hold the 120 film flat. It was right up against the light box, so any imperfections in the light box were showing through in the negative. So yeah, this is a really, really positive thing from this new piece of kit, and it's a reason why I'm going to keep on using it. I should also mention that there's an adapter for 127 film and for the panoramic 35mm, which I might well use in the future. Lucy told me she spent £40, I think, on this, and I think it's on sale for around 80. It's up to you whether you think that's worth the money or not. It depends on what your needs are and what else you can find out there. This isn't really a review, this is just my look at a gift that I got, because why not? Anyway, enough of such things, and on to the other part of the video, which was my little walk along the Poynton Canal. Did I get any interesting shots? Let us see. So yeah, just a few from along the canal. This one of the boat I kind of like. It's a classic picture. I've added a sepia effect to all these pictures. Not exactly sepia, but an effect, a preset as it were, just to ground them all, make them work together. I like this one with the sun breaking through the winter trees and the pylon behind. Nice wintry picture, might go well in my January set. And these sheep enjoying a bit of downtime over New Year. So yeah, a couple of nice pictures, but nothing amazing. That's the life of a photographer. So there you go, that's it for this little video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found something that tickled your fancy. I hope you'll check back with me at the end of January to see the results of the January photo project. But I will have more videos out before then, all being well, with some trips out to take photos and other bits and bobs. I'm planning a trip to Bristol to see a photographic exhibition there. Not sure if that'll be January, February or March, but I will try and turn that into a little bit of a snapping weekend. There's some really nice landscapes, architecture, all sorts in Bristol that would make great content, which I would love to share with you. So please do subscribe, like, share if you haven't done all that already. Would really appreciate it. But that is it for this one. Thanks so much for your time. Take care of yourselves, enjoy what you're shooting, and bye for now.